President Trump and presumptive Democrat nominee Joe Biden both addressed the nation for Independence Day, but strike very different tones. Take a listen.
We celebrate our history, our heroes. We are the descendants of the most daring and courageous.
Our country was founded on an idea that all men are created equal. We've never lived up to it. American history is no fairy tale.
So will patriotism or pessimism win the race? Joining me now to debate, Democrat analyst Lakai Vincent and political analyst Ron Meyer. Great to have you both here. Lakai, first question to you. Which candidate has their finger on the pulse of the people?
Well, Todd, I think there's no question. It's certainly not President Trump. I mean, his speech was exactly who President Trump has been and will continue to be, and most importantly, how he will run his 2020 race. His speech was dark. It was divisive. It did nothing to unify the country. It ignored the fact that there have been over 120,000 deaths due to coronavirus, and it sideswiped the true issue behind why so many people want these Confederate statues down. Now, Biden, on the other hand, he talked about America's past. He talked about the fact that some of it is not always pretty and not necessarily anything to be proud of. But he attempts to unify the country by talking about hope, hope for America, hope that we'll have racial justice, and hope that this doesn't happen again.
Ron, do you agree with Lakai?
Well, I think that view sort of reflects where things were 2 weeks ago. I mean, this is the interesting thing, is that I think President Trump is starting to get exactly the debate that he wants, because I agree that 2 weeks ago when the debate was about Confederate statues and about COVID, he was starting to lose that debate pretty badly. But then Joe Biden and many Democratic activists have basically allowed Trump back into this race by making the debate not about Confederate statues, but about American statues, about people about people who actually got rid of slavery, right? People like Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses Grant, who actually abolished slavery. American heroes like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Teddy Roosevelt. That's who the left has all of a sudden decided to make this debate about. And when the debate is about defending American history and not Confederate history, President Trump is going to win that debate. And unfortunately, that's what's being, or fortunately, I guess, for the president, that's what's being allowed to happen, is that's what the debate has become, because the issue is that I think a lot of folks in America are ready to take on systematic racism, but they aren't ready to erase people who got rid of slavery.
Ron, let's talk about your comments through the lens of polls. The latest Monmouth presidential polling shows pretty strong Biden lead. Biden at 53%, the president at 41%. Lakai, you heard Ron's comments there. When these next polls come out, will we find that the Trump speech helped him bridge that gap? And to Ron's point, that Biden coming out of the basement and talking has helped the president as well bridge that gap?
I couldn't disagree more. I think that the president only has to be himself, and as a result of being himself, he will see that the poll numbers continue to rise for Joe Biden. No one has to make this any harder for Trump than Trump himself, which he continues to do.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
let's go to a different topic. This is sort of all the buzz yesterday. Kanye West saying he is running for president. The question is, could we actually see potential candidates hop in this late that could disrupt the 2020 race? Let's focus on Kanye. Ron, what are your thoughts?
I would never underestimate Kanye West or Kim Kardashian West in most circumstances. They together have well over $1 billion. And I think, by the way, they're also fundamentally good people. And yes, you can criticize anyone who's been in pop culture for as long as they have, but I think that they actually are decent folks and good people who've done a lot of good for our country. However, just from a logistical perspective, Kanye West can have a really hard time getting on the ballot, because 5 or 6 major states like Texas, New York, and California have already passed their deadlines. A bunch of them are coming up in the next couple weeks, and you need thousands and thousands of signatures to get on the ballot. And so if this becomes largely a write-in campaign, it's going to be very hard for Kanye to be relevant. And I don't really think he hurts either candidate.
Well, to that point, I want to get Lakai's thought on this. Let's say Kanye was able to pass the ballot hurdles. Do you think Kanye could siphon off the black voter and ultimately hurt Biden in the end?
I do. I think that is the threat to Kanye getting on any ballot. It could certainly have some individuals voting for him, but I hope that we will be able to overcome that if that's even an option, because I don't think that he necessarily has the political acumen to be on the ballot. So just my thought.
We will see. We're just getting started. Long time to go before November 3rd. Lakai and Ron, we appreciate your time this morning. Have a great week.
Have a great morning.